What? Lore? That doesn't include the shitty Kiyomaro mansion? Whoa, we're getting fine dining today, folks, okay? As Gordon Ramsay would say, delicious. Finally, some good fucking food, okay? Anyways, welcome back to Tonikaku Kawaii chapter 197. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are only 3 more chapters away from the fabled chapter 200. I cannot wait to see it. This chapter is brought to you by Bathhouse Scan, so thank you very much to them for actually putting work in. This chapter also apparently celebrates Hada's 20th anniversary when it comes to drawing pictures. Very proud of you, Hada. I'm proud that you've been drawing pictures now for 20 years. Anyways, apart from that, I have nothing interesting to say, so yeah, let's just jump right into it. Now, the story starts off with another rendition of the Kaguya and the bamboo cutter story. Now, if you know anything about Tonikaku Kawaii, you kind of also need to know a little bit of the bamboo cutter story, especially if you're in the lore department. So, you already know what the story is. However, I should probably still give you, I guess, little explanation on like what the hell the fucking story is, okay? So basically, there's this old guy, he cuts bamboo, he finds this one bamboo that's glowing, he cuts it open, turns out there's like this little girl the size of his thumb, and he and his wife can't have children because, they're old, so, he decides to take this little girl and raise it as their child. 3 months later, turns out, she's now apparently a full-grown woman, okay? So that's that, okay? And she's really beautiful as fuck, okay? The old couple, they want to keep this a secret because, they don't want nothing bad to happen to her. But that doesn't work out, okay? So basically, these 5 Japanese officials or whatever, they find out, they go up to her, they're like, hey, can we marry you? Kaguya says no because she doesn't want to get married to any of them. But she then just decides to basically do these impossible tasks for them to complete each. None of them complete them. They all cheat in their own way. I think 2 of them die. But yeah, that's what happens. And then the Emperor of Japan, he finds out that this happened, right? And he's like, oh, she's beautiful. I want to marry her. So, he goes up to Kaguya and he's like, hey, can I marry you? Obviously, Kaguya says no. And They still keep in contact, right? They're writing like letters to each other, right? So was he really rejected? Was he not? Who knows? Was he just put in the friend zone? Whatever, okay? So after that, what happens is that Kaguya basically has to tell her grandparents, well, not her foster parents, that she has to go return to the moon because without that she's fucked, okay? So the word gets out and everyone's obviously really sad. The Emperor puts some guards around her house to basically stop her from leaving, but that doesn't work out, okay? Like these moon people, they come and they just destroy the place, whatever, right? And Kaguya has to go with them. She apparently writes a letter to the Emperor and her foster parents, whatever. The Emperor's has like this weird elixir of immortality, so, just in case she comes back, he can take it, whatever. He ain't having none of that bullshit, okay? He decides to basically have someone else barn it at the highest peak of a mountain in the entirety of Japan to basically say, fuck you, no. And, yeah, that's where the original bamboo cutter story basically ends, okay? Now, after basically that breakdown of the story, we can actually, get on to the main chapter, okay? So, basically, the guardian, because in some stories, he's considered the father, some of them, he's the grandfather, basically. I'm just going to call him Guardian to make my life a little more easier, right? So basically, Kaguya's Guardian asks Kaguya, what her thoughts were on something they were talking about, a day before. Now, because Kaguya apparently wasn't interested in the subject, she didn't remember jack shit of it. So basically, the Guardian kind of has to re-explain to her what the hell they were even talking about in the first place, alright? So, basically, as you know, Kaguya is apparently very beautiful, okay? I don't know, I don't see it, whatever, okay? So, basically, she's been getting a lot of marriage proposals, right? And the Guardian kind of just has to be like, okay, here are some people that, I don't know, maybe you could marry off, right? You can marry to one of them, right? He's basically telling her about supposed marriage proposals, right? Now, Kaguya is kind of like, oh, we were talking about marriage proposals? Oh. Yeah, no, I don't want to get married, okay? So, the grandpa, he gets, I guess, very worried, right? That he's like, oh my god, Kaguya doesn't want to get married, right? And, he kind of just has to explain to her why she technically has to get married, right? So basically, he's like, all right, listen, Kaguya, sweetie, you've made us insanely lucky. Okay, we're like really rich, right? But that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, right? Because at the end of the day, we're just technically commoners, okay? We're not royalty. We're not like, special, powerful people. We're just rich because of you, and that's about it, really. And it's kind of getting concerning how many noblemen we've had to basically reject and like tell no, you're not. She's not getting married. She's not up for sale, okay? And he's kind of like he doesn't want to get any of them pissed because that would mean his death, right? And his wife, and probably Kaguya's death, but we know that she isn't gonna die, whatever. So he's kind of like, hey, could you marry someone so like, we don't die, my wife doesn't die, and you don't die, most importantly? Kaguya playfully accuses him of like, trying to just marry her off so he doesn't have to worry about her anymore, right? He's like, no, listen. Let me explain to you like a little more, right? So if he would have his way, basically the dude would never let Kaguya get married because Kaguya makes him and his wife pretty happy, okay? If he could have his way, she wouldn't get married, okay? But, as he says so himself, he and his wife are getting old. They're going to die eventually, okay? And, they're kind of worried that, she won't find anyone to make her happy, right? And they want her to be happy even after they die, okay? So they want to go out of their way to, try to find someone, okay? As long as, they still have functioning legs, they're not on a deathbed, right? They want to work their hardest to basically try to find someone to, marry her, to find someone that's going to make her happy even after they die, right? Now, because of this explanation, I guess apparently Kaguya is like, okay, fine, sure, I'll look at the people that you want me to marry, okay? Am I gonna marry any of them? Probably not, because I'm gonna remind you, I don't give a shit about this, right? But that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, Kaguya still goes ahead and just kind of just looks at all the people that want to marry her. To get this tiny explanation on why basically every, like, a man that's, even heard of Kaguya have been so fixated by her. So, basically, obviously, one, her beauty, right? And then there's just this French phrase that is basically said, right? I'm not gonna say it because I don't feel like butchering it. Listen, I don't know what it says. I only know two languages, okay? And hell, I can't even speak both of those languages, okay? So, I put it into Google Translate. It was French. The translation apparently is, I do not know what. I do not know what. I don't know what it, as the translation says, I don't know what it means. Fucking, I don't know what attitude. Like, listen, I've no clue what it means by that, but whatever, okay? It talks about how basically the fixation of like every human male kind of seems like it's like kind of just ingrained into human nature, which I guess kind of just gives a little bit more lore into the whole why the hell everyone was like so cahooted about, why everyone really cared about Kaguya. After that, we cut to this random dude, okay? He has some black robes, whatever. He's probably the emperor, okay? If you know the story, right? So, this guy is apparently now finding out about, the whole Kaguya thing, right? His assistant, his friend, whatever. He apparently, they've been telling him that, oh, this Kaguya girl is some beautiful, like, and, cute person, whatever, right? The emperor is like, oh, my interests haven't peaked, okay? He wants to go and try to basically find this person, right? So, he's doing that, right? Meanwhile, while that's happening, like the trials of like, the people that are trying to, marry Kaguya have been dwindled down to 5 people. All of them are noblemen, but whatever, okay? That doesn't matter. So, Kaguya comes in, right, and basically meets all of them. She's like, she's on top of the stairs. They're down on the floor, right, whatever, okay? They all kind of just say, wow, she really is beautiful. She's more beautiful in person than, like, they'd ever think, right? One of them points out kind of that she has a sense of, divinity to her, okay? Kind of like she's a goddess or something, whatever, right? But Kaguya ain't having none of this shit, right? She's like, all right, bow down to me, mere mortals or some shit. And every single one of them bows down to her, right? It seems that it's not, because they wanted to. It seems like it was much more by force because they're all shocked that, they can't move their bodies and that, like, they just suddenly went down, right? The grandpa, he's like, hey, Kaguya, chill. These are very noble people, okay? These are noblemen. You probably don't want to do that to them, okay? Kaguya, she's like, oh, I didn't realize because, like, I don't know, they're all the same to me, okay? She doesn't really care about it too much. After Kaguya finds out that, oh, these were actually noblemen, she basically is like, okay, whatever, that doesn't matter. She continues with her whole little plan, right? She explains that, she has some proposals, okay? Each one of them is going to get a trial, okay? Now, they don't really know what that trial is just yet, right? But, then after that, she declares that there's going to be this big scavenging hunt for basically Kaguya's heart, okay? And, yeah, they all have to find something that's basically impossible to get, but they don't really know that. But they have to, if they surprisingly somehow get it, she's going to marry him, okay? So, meanwhile, while that's happening, Scassa-chan, we cut to Scassa-chan, okay? Our girl, our queen, Scassa-chan, okay? She's talking to someone, okay? And she finds out about this Kaguya girl, right? Someone explains to her that apparently Kaguya means a brilliant night. I don't know. I think in like the original, there's a different meaning for Kaguya. I think it's like a moon, something, whatever. Whatever. So brilliant night is apparently the definition of Kaguya's name, right? So Scassa-chan, she's like, okay, her name is Kaguya. You know, that's a pretty name. That's a beautiful name right there, okay? And basically, that's where the chapter ends off, right? This is the moment where it kicked off, and everything that we know after this kind of happened, okay? Very good chapter, okay? First off, we have lore. Second off, it's lore that doesn't include the Kiyomaru mansion, so, it makes it 10 times better. Like, listen, don't get me wrong, the mansion arc was okay. Like, I've already said this like a couple times now, but it just kept going for infinitely longer than it probably should have. It was okay at the end of the day, but whatever, okay? Apart from that, I don't have anything to say. Listen, chapter 199 just came out like 5 hours as of recording this, so I kind of hurry up if I want to make the deadline of the chapter 200. So, yeah, have a great rest of your day. I have to edit this now, so, yeah, goodbye.